In 1839, the United States government ran a program that most Americans have never heard of. Congress funded the collection of novel crop varieties from around the world and distributed their seeds for free directly to American farmers. The program ran for decades. Farmers were encouraged to test varieties, save the seeds from their best performers, and adapt those plants to their specific soil and climate. Some of the heirloom varieties that exist today trace directly to that program. In the early 1920s, Congress ended it. That same decade, the first commercial hybrid seed corn became available for sale. The timing was not coincidental. For the 12,000 years before that moment, farmers had grown their crops from seed they saved. The practice was not a hobby. It was the foundation of every agricultural civilization that had ever existed. Seeds were selected, stored, traded, and improved over generations. A farmer's seed stock was as much a capital asset as their land. It accumulated value over time. It adapted to local conditions. It belonged to them. A hybrid seed produces something different. The first generation, the F1, exhibits what plant breeders call hybrid vigor. The plants are uniform, vigorous, and high-yielding. But when you save seed from a hybrid and plant it the following year, the offspring scatter across the full genetic range of both parent lines. The uniformity collapses, the yield drops, the plants become unpredictable. This is not a defect, it is a design feature. A farmer who saves seed from a hybrid must buy new seed the following season, every season, indefinitely, from the same company that designed the seed not to replant. By 1935, only 6% of Iowa corn acreage was planted with hybrids. Farmers were not accustomed to buying new seed each year. They resisted. By 1942, near 100% of Iowa corn was hybrid. In one decade, 12,000 years of seed sovereignty ended on the most important crop in the American Midwest. This video is about 7 plants that exist outside that system. Open-pollinated plants whose seeds have been saved and traded for centuries. Plants that require no annual seed purchase, improve in adaptation with every generation you grow them, and have generated real, documented income for the farmers who understood what they held. The seed industry does not promote them. There is nothing to sell you. Before we dive in, comment where you're watching from and click subscribe. Before we get to the plants, the mechanism of suppression needs to be named clearly. In 1970, the United States passed the Plant Variety Protection Act, creating a legal framework for seed ownership. In 1980, the Supreme Court ruled in Diamond v. Chakrabarty that living organisms could be patented, a ruling that applied directly to agricultural plants. In 2001, utility patent protection was extended to cover naturally occurring plant traits, not just novel varieties, but specific genes within existing plants. In 2013, the Supreme Court ruled in Bowman v. Monsanto that saving patented seed for replanting constituted patent infringement. Each of those legal steps moved in the same direction, away from the farmer toward the corporation. Today, 4 companies, Bayer, Corteva, Syngenta, and BASF, control more than 60% of global proprietary seed sales. 2 of them alone, Bayer and Corteva, control 72% of the U.S. corn seed market and 66% of the U.S. soybean seed market. Since 1983, the global seed market has undergone more than 200 mergers and acquisitions. Every independent seed company absorbed into one of the 4 giants represents another family of varieties that may be discontinued if they cannot be patented, bundled with chemical inputs, or sold at sufficient scale to justify shelf space in the catalog. A University of Georgia study found that 94% of the seed varieties commercially available in 1903 were no longer available in 2004 seed catalogs. 94%. This is not the outcome of natural selection. It is the outcome of a business model. The plants in this video are the ones that escaped that model, because they are open-pollinated, because their seeds breed true, because a farmer who grows them once owns them permanently, and a company cannot profit from that. Plant 1, garlic, Allium sativum. Garlic has been cultivated for more than 5,000 years, originating in Central Asia and spreading across every agricultural civilization that encountered it. It has no wild ancestor. It exists only because farmers selected and propagated it. It cannot be grown from commercial seed at all. It is propagated from cloves. This is the key financial fact. Garlic is one of the most profitable specialty crops on a per-acre basis of any plant that can be grown in a temperate climate. A single acre planted in hardneck garlic can produce 10,000 to 15,000 pounds of bulbs, at $2 to $5 per pound at a farmer's market or direct sale, and significantly more for specialty and heirloom varieties. That represents $20,000 to $75,000 per acre in gross revenue from a single annual planting. The seed stock is the farm's own harvest. You plant cloves in fall, you harvest bulbs in summer, you save the largest, most productive bulbs for next year's planting stock. Over 5, 10, 15 years, your garlic adapts to your specific soil and microclimate in ways that commercially purchased garlic from California or China cannot. The industry cannot patent an ancient open-pollinated variety. It cannot bundle garlic propagation with a chemical input program. A farmer who saves their own planting stock has permanently removed themselves from the purchase cycle for this crop. There is a reason garlic is not discussed in any commercial seed catalog from any of the 4 major seed corporations. Plant 2, Jerusalem artichoke, Helianthus tuberosus. This plant has one of the stranger suppression stories in American agricultural history. It is native to eastern North America, cultivated by numerous indigenous nations who spread it deliberately along trade and travel routes as a reliable food source. When French explorer Samuel de Champlain encountered it on Cape Cod in the early 17th century, he brought it to Europe, where it became a mainstream food crop, widely cultivated, traded, and eaten across France, Germany, and Italy for more than 2 centuries. It essentially disappeared from American commercial agriculture in the 20th century. Not because it stopped producing, it produces prolifically, 2 to 5 tons of edible tubers per acre from a single planting, with essentially no inputs required after establishment. Not because it is difficult to grow. It is one of the most aggressively productive perennials in temperate agriculture, so vigorous that colonial farmer Amelia Simmons wrote in 1796 that once established in a garden, it can scarcely be eradicated. It disappeared because it is a perennial. A farmer who plants Jerusalem artichokes once has a productive crop indefinitely. The tubers multiply underground. There is no annual seed purchase. There is no input dependency. The plant simply grows, producing every season, spreading through the plot, requiring only periodic harvest and thinning. A perennial crop that requires no annual purchase and multiplies from its own roots is the structural opposite of what the commercial seed industry sells. Plant 3, amaranth, Amaranthus species. The Aztec Empire ran on amaranth. It was a primary food crop, the grain of the gods, cultivated on a scale that fed cities. When the Spanish arrived in the 16th century, they banned its cultivation, not because it had failed as a crop, because it was too central to Aztec religious ceremonies, and eliminating the crop was part of eliminating the culture. The ban was one of the most consequential acts of agricultural suppression in recorded history. Amaranth produces grain with a nutritional profile that exceeds conventional cereals. It contains all 9 essential amino acids. It is higher in protein than wheat or corn. It is gluten-free. It grows in conditions, heat, drought, poor soil, where commercial cereals fail. A single plant can produce 50,000 to 500,000 seeds. One documented field trial produced 10 tons of edible greens per hectare in a 30 to 40-day harvest period. In 1975, the U.S. National Academy of Science identified grain amaranth as a crop with high value and agronomic potential. The report changed essentially nothing about how the crop was promoted by agricultural institutions. Amaranth is an open-pollinated annual that breeds true from saved seed. There is no hybrid version to sell. There is no proprietary trait to patent in an ancient landrace variety. It grows without synthetic fertilizer in soils that would not support commodity corn or soybeans. Its cultivation requires no specialized equipment. It has never appeared in the catalog of any major seed corporation. Plant 4, sorghum. Sorghum bicolor, specifically the open-pollinated grain and sweet sorghum varieties. Sorghum has sustained more people for more centuries than almost any other crop on Earth. It originated in Africa approximately 8,000 years ago and spread across Asia, becoming a staple grain across the most food-insecure regions of the world. It withstands drought, heat, and marginal soils that would kill corn. It is one of the most water-efficient grain crops that exists. Open-pollinated grain sorghum was a major American cash crop in the 19th century. Sweet sorghum, varieties bred for sugar-rich stalks, was processed into sorghum molasses, a primary sweetener for rural American households for generations. Farmers grew it, processed it, sold it. The crop moved money at the farm level. Hybrid sorghum was developed in the 1950s and commercially introduced in the following decade. Adoption was rapid for the same reason corn adoption was rapid. Hybrids yielded more in the first generation. Farmers had to purchase new seed every season. The open-pollinated varieties, which farmers had grown from saved seed for generations, were gradually displaced. Open-pollinated sorghum still exists. It breeds true from saved seed. It produces reliably in conditions where no commercial crop survives. And as the market for ancient grains, sorghum flour, and traditional sweeteners has grown over the past decade, small farmers growing open-pollinated varieties for specialty markets have built significant direct sale revenue from a crop that the commodity system abandoned because it couldn't be sufficiently controlled. Plant 5. Horseradish. Armoracia rusticana. Horseradish does not reproduce from seed in any commercially useful sense. It is propagated from root cuttings. A farmer who establishes a horseradish bed owns it permanently. The plant spreads underground, producing more root each year, requiring only annual harvest. It has been in continuous cultivation for at least 3,000 years. It was a staple medicinal and culinary crop across Europe for centuries. In the early American farm economy, it was a standard market crop. It grows in poor soil, cold climates, and difficult conditions where most vegetables fail. Once established, it essentially cannot be eradicated. The retail price for fresh horseradish root at farmers markets and specialty grocers ranges from $4 to $8 per pound. Processing it into prepared horseradish, a single additional step, multiplies the value significantly. A well-managed horseradish bed produces for decades from a single planting investment. There's nothing to patent. There's nothing to sell annually. The plant multiplies from its own roots in your soil, adapted to your conditions, improving year over year. Plant 6. Asparagus. Asparagus officinalis. Asparagus is one of the most durable financial assets a small farm can plant. It takes 3 years from seed to first meaningful harvest. After that, a well-maintained asparagus bed produces for 20 to 30 years from a single planting. Some documented beds have produced for 50 years. Open-pollinated asparagus varieties breed true from saved seed. A farmer who establishes a bed from open-pollinated seed has a multi-decade revenue stream from a single seed investment. The cost of that seed, amortized over 20 years of production, is essentially zero. Asparagus commands $3 to $6 per pound at farmers markets in the spring window when it is available. Local asparagus, harvested within hours of sale, is a premium product. The commercial asparagus supply chain imports the majority of American consumption from Peru and Mexico, where it is grown year-round at commodity prices. Fresh, local asparagus in the spring window sells itself. The demand for locally grown asparagus consistently exceeds supply at farmers markets across temperate North America. The only investment is the 3-year establishment period. After that, the bed costs almost nothing to maintain and produces for a generation. No seed corporation promotes open-pollinated asparagus. The hybrid varieties they sell, primarily all-male cultivars developed to eliminate the energy expenditure of seed production, must be purchased as crowns from licensed suppliers. The open-pollinated alternative produces a self-sustaining, perennial bed from a one-time seed investment. Plant 7. Sunchoke. Helianthus tuberosus, the same species as Jerusalem artichoke, but the culinary name now preferred by specialty markets. This plant has appeared twice in this video because it deserves particular attention from the perspective of market positioning. The Jerusalem artichoke, grown as a staple crop, disappeared from commercial prominence in the 20th century. The sunchoke, rebranded for specialty markets in the past 20 years, is now sold at $4 to $8 per pound at upscale grocery stores and farmers markets. It is in demand among chefs for its nutty flavor, high inulin content, and status as a forgotten heritage ingredient. The farmers growing it command premium prices. The plant has not changed. The market opportunity has shifted. A farmer who establishes sunchokes from tubers saved from any existing patch or purchased once from any specialty grower has a permanent, propagating perennial crop that requires no annual seed purchase, produces 2 to 5 tons per acre, and commands specialty market prices rather than commodity prices. This is the pattern that repeats across every plant in this video. A crop that farmers grew profitably for generations, that the industrial seed system had no mechanism to monetize, that was marginalized not because it stopped producing, but because it could not be fitted into an annual purchase cycle. There is a number that should anchor everything in this video. 94% of the seed varieties commercially available in 1903 were no longer available in commercial catalogs by 2004. That represents not just lost varieties, but lost knowledge. The accumulated selection work of generations of farmers who chose the best performers in their specific conditions and saved seed from those plants. Each variety that disappears represents dozens to hundreds of years of incremental adaptation to a specific microclimate, a specific soil type, a specific set of disease pressures. The plants in this video have not disappeared. They exist in the hands of seed libraries, heirloom seed companies, and farmers who never stopped growing them. The Seed Savers Exchange in Iowa maintains more than 20,000 rare vegetable varieties. The Southern Exposure Seed Exchange catalogs hundreds of open-pollinated varieties specifically adapted to the American South. Regional seed libraries operate in communities across the country, offering seeds at no cost to members who agree to return seeds from their harvest. These organizations are doing the work that the federal government abandoned when it ended its free seed distribution program in the 1920s. At precisely the moment when the commercial hybrid seed industry began its century of consolidation. There is one more thing to name before the uncomfortable truth. The Congress that ended the federal free seed program in the 1920s did not announce that it was ending seed sovereignty. It announced that it was ending an inefficient government service now that private seed companies existed to fulfill the same function. The framing was almost identical to what happened in medical education a decade earlier with the Flexner Report. A private interest presenting the elimination of a public good as an upgrade to quality and efficiency. In both cases, the information that could not be monetized disappeared from the institutions that had previously taught it. In both cases, what remained was more rigorous, more profitable, and less free. The uncomfortable truth in this video is that open-pollinated varieties are not always the highest yielding option in any single season. They are not. Modern hybrid corn yields more per acre than any open-pollinated corn variety. Commercial hybrid tomatoes are more disease-resistant than most heirlooms. F1 hybrids are a genuine agricultural technology that produces real benefits in uniformity, yield, and shelf life. The question is not whether hybrids are better in any given season. The question is what the full cost of the system looks like across 10, 20, 50 years. A farmer who grows hybrid corn purchases seed every season, plus the synthetic nitrogen fertilizer that hybrid corn is bred to require, plus the herbicide program designed for the specific GMO trait in the seed, all from companies that are increasingly the same company. The per-season cost of that system grows every year as consolidation reduces competition. A farmer who grows open-pollinated garlic, asparagus, sorghum, and perennial vegetables has a capital asset that compounds in value. The seed stock improves in local adaptation. The cost approaches zero over time. The independence from annual input purchasing grows rather than shrinks. The difference is not yield. The difference is who owns the system. For 12,000 years, the farmer owned the seed. That changed in a single generation, and the mechanism of that change was not superior science. It was superior legal and financial infrastructure, built to ensure that the most fundamental input in agriculture could be sold every year to the people who grow the world's food. The plants in this video are what the system cannot reach. The knowledge of how to grow them, save their seed, and trade them is what the industry spent a century erasing. It has not been fully erased. The seeds still exist. The knowledge is recoverable. The ground is ready for a farmer who understands what they hold.